Hello everyone, I just want to do a quick little video. I don't do videos that often anymore, but today I want to do one in response to my buddy, 8 the Chosen One. He did a video about his top 20 exploitation films. Now my list is going to be a bit shorter because I want to do quality, not quantity. I'm just busting on you, man. And a lot of the ones that he shared I already have, but I'm going to show them off right now. That's I Spit on Your Grave, Citizen Toxic Avenger 4, which is actually my favorite out of the entire Toxic Avenger series, and Cannibal Holocaust, which is one of my favorite films ever. But besides those are all great ones, but he already talked about them. I wanted to give my own personal list. Now, these are all ones that stuck with me, had an impression on me. I think some of them are actually pretty important to film. Some of them are guilty pleasures, but one of them is actually genuinely a film that actually freaked me out. And another one is one of my all-time favorites, period. And if any of you know me, you'll know why. These aren't in any particular order aside from number one. They kind of are, but some of them are kind of here and there. But anyways, let's get this started. The first is Cat in the Brain, a film by Lucio Fulci. And what's really nice about it is it's an exploitation film about exploitation. It's about the process and the hardships of making an exploitation film. And that's really fun. It's a great movie. It's a lot of entertainment in it. There's a lot of good gore. It's a psychological thriller, of course, and it's brought to you by the master Lucio Fulci, who, as many people know, made the zombie films. Well, the first Zombie, or Zombie 2 as it's put. And it's a lot of fun. It's humorous at times, it's shocking, it's gory, it has everything that an exploitation horror film needs. Next is another Troma film, Poultrygeist. This is just a straight up funny film. Anyone who's in the horror community already knows a lot about this film. But what the important thing is about it is that it is just a blast. We haven't had a movie like this in a while. We haven't had a movie like this since this came out, unfortunately. But I think it's important because we need more films that are willing to just go all out. Even Return to Nukem High wasn't as exciting as this was. It was decent, don't get me wrong, but it didn't have the same click that this had. This one just had a lot more fun. It had great musical numbers. It just had everything a good comedy film needed. Next is Wizard of Gore. If anyone knows me, they know how much I love Something Weird Video and Herschel Gordon Lewis. Am I saying that right? Yeah, sorry. And this is my favorite of his. I've seen a lot of his films. I've seen Uh-Oh Show, Blood Feast 2, 2000 Maniacs, Taste of Blood. I think he did The Taste of Blood. And I also think he did A Gruesome Twosome, but I never saw that. This, I think, is the one that has the most entertainment for me, probably because I saw it when I was a lot younger, back in high school, and it was when I was just getting into horror, and I thought it was so entertaining. It was goofy, it was silly, it had all the gore I wanted, the audio was off, the saran wrap on the floor in the restaurant when the one girl was dying was funny, the plot is ludicrous, the remake improves it, but it's not as enjoyable. That's why this is on this list. This is a film that every horror fan should need, and it's on Blu-ray now with a collection of things. But if you just want this one alone, it's only about $10 on Amazon. Something Weird Videos are never that expensive. The next one is an exploitation film. It's a drama film, but it's an exploitation film at its purest, and that is Requiem for a Dream. This is a screwed up, depressing, depraved, disturbing film. It's one of the most depressing films I've ever seen. I've never been addicted to drugs, but if it's anything like this, Lord knows I don't want to be. I've seen people in it and just seen what they had to go through, and then this film really hits at that. It's so demented, and it just shows how low the human can go with an addiction, no matter what it is, and it makes it so real. It really hurts to watch. I don't really watch it that much. I watched it once, and I was like, I can't do this again. It is so demented, so screwed up. There's nothing happy about it. At no point in the movie is there a scene where I'm smiling. Throughout the entire movie, I just was like, I can't do this. This is unbelievably sad. I mean, the commercials were played for a little bit of laughs, but it just made the darker scenes even more disturbing, in my opinion. Alright, back to horror. And its frontiers. This is a really, really, really violent, really fun horror film. It's in French, which some people might not be able to get into, but I didn't mind it at all. I don't mind reading subtitles. I watch all the Godzilla movies. I watch them both dubbed and undubbed. I watch anime both dubbed and undubbed. So it doesn't bother me if I have to read through a movie. And sometimes, the subtitles are just sometimes just straight up better. And it makes more sense to watch it like that because just actually seeing the characters' lips match what they're actually saying. Unlike Italian movies where everyone's speaking their native language and then it's dubbed over into another language, which is really off-putting. But with this, just having to listen to it and read over the subtitles, it's not a big deal. It's a really good movie, but again, not one to watch on a Sunday afternoon if you're trying to put yourself in a good mood. Alright, next. This one's going to be kind of controversial. It's Caligula. I think this is a lot better than what people say it is. It's not a perfect film, but it's not as bad as what people say. That's why I bought as you see, this is a collector's edition with more than one cut. This is definitely an interesting film. It's about the Caligula. He was a horrible dictator of sorts. But the film, it's basically a big budget porn film, if we're going to look at it that way. That's basically what it is. But I think there's more to it than that. I think the acting's all well and good. The plot's there. So I don't really understand why it's gotten such a bad following. It's definitely not a perfect film. There's definitely some flaws here and there. Some of it is hammy. But it is willing to go that extra step, which is what some films weren't willing to do. Now, of course, like I said, it's basically just a big budget porn in an epic format. But it has everything a good movie needs. It has entertainment, it has character, it has dark moments, it has funny moments, whether or not they're intentional or not is up for debate. But I like this movie. It's a good, entertaining film, and it was a good party film, too. Next, Mark of the Devil. The first movie rated V for violence, totally uncut and uncensored. I got this for Christmas one year, again, back when I was getting into horror, and I remember because I saw it at the bookstore, and I saw rated V for violence, and yeah, it works. It's a movie basically about witch hunting, not the Salem witch trials, I don't think, but basically the plot is they're hunting for witches and then they kill them off in brutal ways. And it is brutal. It's a very, very, very brutal film. They say gorehound, but it's more of a brutality of it all. That's similar to Cannibal Holocaust. A lot of people remember Cannibal Holocaust as being a gore film, but like my thing with Cannibal Holocaust is it's very, very much a brutal horror film. And same thing with this. As you can see on the cover, they have this hook in her mouth, and in the film it feels like the viewer can feel it. I felt it, I know that. And Udo Kier, very underrated actor. He's not on the cover. He does a really good job. He's a younger guy in this, obviously. But just everything about this just worked. It is an essential horror film, and some people haven't heard of it, and I think that needs to be fixed because this is a good film. Oops, sorry. Next, again, this was back when I was in high school. My senior year I got this. It's SS Girls, kind of a Nazi porn type thing. And this is made by Bruno Mattei, who I am a fan of. I have more than one of his movies. I have Rats, I have Hell Living Dead, I have this. I've seen Robo War, and I've also seen Strike Commando. But this is actually a genuinely good film. It's, for those who don't know, it's about like this Nazi sex ring where they basically capture people and then they capture these people and they use them for sex so that they can get stuff out of them. And it's very cartoonish and it's demented in that perfect way. Everything about it is just, it hits it. Something about it. And I know it's weird saying it's Nazi porn, because it technically is, but it's more than that. I got this in a box set of other Nazi exploitation films. It has this cartoonish quality to it that makes it goofy, but also kind of screwed up in a sense. And I can honestly see directors like Tarantino or Rodriguez catching influence from this film, because it basically connects similarly to how those films are made. Most cult filmmakers today, like the ones I just mentioned, I can almost see them being inspired by this. I'm not saying they were, mind you. But watch this and then watch Inglourious Basterds and you'll see what I mean. Next, 8 showed Death Wish 4. Or 3. I think he showed 3, I'm sorry. But I'm showing The Exterminator, the first one. This is exploitation at its finest. This is great action exploitation. It's not spectacle. It's a not really slow burning, but it's not, Punisher, fast-paced action film. It's just such a great, brutal... Again, we're going back to brutality here. Brutal film. It's about a Vietnam veteran and his buddy, his fellow Vietnam veteran buddy, is killed, and he goes on a rampage and kills everyone. This is only seen once from what I remember. And the problem with this film is that a lot of critics really didn't like it, but it actually is a genuine film. There's heart in it, there's action, there's suspense, there's everything in this film. The guy who plays the Exterminator is great. I don't know if anyone watches The Cinema Snob, but I swear the guy who plays the Exterminator looks exactly like his one friend. I forget his friend's name, but he looks exactly like him. I honestly was just like, I wonder if they're related. But if you want a slow-burning action suspense film, The Exterminator is where it's at. It doesn't get much better than The Exterminator. It's just pure revenge films from this era. Next is a Scream Factory release. And Scream Factory, major film companies, you need to get on Scream Factory's level because they're cleaning up their DVDs way better than you're cleaning up your major releases. Excuse me. And it's class of 1984. Mr. Parker reviewed this a while back, and he said it's one of his favorite films, and I can definitely see why. I like the different covers. The cover's reversible, so if I'm going to have a regular cover on this, I'm going to flip it over and change to that. We are the future and nothing can stop us. The tagline is, the teachers at Lincoln High have a very dangerous problem. They're students. And it's great. I like how the main villain character, he has this great trait in him that he's good at piano, but he's also just a horrible, horrible person. And I think movies like Lean On Me or any motivational teacher story, think of that, but going horribly, horribly wrong. And that's what this is. It is such a demented but great film. This is a genuine horror film. And a lot of people put this under action, but I'm going to put it under horror because it feels real. Again, not gory, but very brutal. It feels like something like this could happen. And in fact, somewhere on here it says that the story is based on true events or something like that. I don't think it's based on an actual story in particular. But it is a good reflection of how some schools are, and that's important because this is such a powerful film. And someone who's going to get a teaching degree, something like this could be a decent warning. I'm not saying schools are actually this demented, but just be on the wares because you never know who you can and cannot trust. A student that shines the bright, has a shining spot in his life, could just be a disaster waiting to happen. And it's demented to see, it's horrifying, it's depressing, it's demoralizing, but you know what? It just works, and that's why I love it. And it also stars a very young Michael J. Fox, even before Back to the Future. Next, this is the movie that I was saying that actually messed with my head. This movie actually horrified me when I saw it. It was disturbing, and it's Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. A lot of people know about this film, and it's just, wow. I want to get his name right, the actor who plays Henry. I'm sorry, it's, of course, Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker, who's also in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's also in The Walking Dead. He is a great actor. In this movie, he just sells it. Everything in this movie, just everything, the way things are shot, everything is disturbing. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I feel uncomfortable. This is the first time I felt like that in a movie. And the scene where they're watching a video of them killing a family and just watching it like it's casual TV was so appalling and shocking and demented that that scene stuck in my brain. I still think about it now. And the ending got me too. Just everything in this movie worked. This is as pure horror as it gets, because again, this is real. This is something that could actually happen. Last, but certainly not least, one of my absolute favorite films of all time. I love this film. The sequel apparently wasn't as good. I have the set where it includes the sequel. I never watched the sequel. The book is good. And it's Battle Royale. Battle Royale is such a fantastic film. It just hits home on so many different levels. It has great action, great characters, great suspense. Some people might say the ending drags on a bit, the epilogue, but I didn't mind it because everything else in the movie was such a home run that even a slight foul ball, like the ending taking a little too long, was just a fate in the wind at that point. They're scoring a perfect game. I can excuse an ending that takes a little bit of time. And again, this is a kind of a bootlegged version, where it's an all-region DVD, and the dialogue is all in Japanese and it's subtitled. This is basically what made me had to start reading movies. And it is such a perfect film. Basically flawless, like I said, aside from that very long ending. But the characters in it are all great. The story is demented and disturbing. I use that word disturbing a lot, by the way. And it just feels so alive, so real. Every character I felt for, and I'm glad they didn't remake this in America because I don't think they would have been able to do it as well. It has some great gore effects, some great music, just everything about this is pure exploitation bliss. And if you haven't seen it yet, you owe it to yourself to watch Battle Royale. Anyways, those are my favorite exploitation films. 8. I hope you liked my list. I hope everyone else liked my list too. Of course, it's all up for debate whether or not my list is better. I think mine is better. I'm just busting on you, man. I love your list too. But I want to be different. I want to show the more exploitation films I had. Anyways, that's my list. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.